Hi, you are tuned into AWANI Review with me, Cynthia Ng. Today we will be talking about P2P financing with MicroLEAP, a company founded in 2019 to help improve access to funding for small and medium businesses in Malaysia and potentially abroad as well. We'll talk about that later, but I'm so excited to have with me today is the COO of MicroLEAP, Matthew Fernandez, joining us to understand a bit more about this model, why it works and where this space is headed. So first of all, thank you for having me here at your office. Really, such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yes, likewise. Thank you for coming over. Made our job easy as well.
All right, so let's start with something simple. For those of us who are not familiar with P2P financing, that is peer-to-peer financing. Yeah. Tell us, how is MicroLEAP different from a bank and why does it matter to small and medium-sized businesses?
Yes, thanks for that. First things first, MicroLEAP is a peer-to-peer financing platform matching investors to issuers, which is the MSMEs in this country. So we go from as low as 1,000 ringgit right up to 1.5 million ringgit at the moment. So we've grown really a lot over the years, but P2P and SC were the first, Securities Commission Malaysia, SC, were the first to regulate peer-to-peer financing from 2016. We were the second batch. We were started 2018, 2019, once we went live. It has been, what's it called, booming ever since. We were also the first to do Sharia-compliant financing and conventional financing on one platform. So that's the main drive on MicroLEAP side. I mean, that's also how we're different. The banks, of course, now it's the time and the fact that they don't really do small cost financing. So the banks will only look at larger profitable loans. So that's the main difference between banks and us. But the good thing is there's now 18 players. So it's grown from 5 and then 11 and then now there's 18. All serving everyone from mid-tier companies right down to the people like us who handle the MSMEs, also up to SMEs. Yep.
Let's talk about the sectors that you serve. Are there particular areas that MicroLEAP is more focused in?
MicroLEAP is sector agnostic in general, but we do have certain sectors that an ecosystem that we've been financing, invoice financing, purchase order financing, like the lorry.com, they have IKEA, Maidin, a lot of good clients, and we've been taking care of that ecosystem financing for many years. But those, during COVID times, there were a lot of companies that they were, there's one famous one in Johor that was doing pisang goreng, but she pivoted during COVID because obviously no one could go out, but Grab and Foodpanda sales were through the roof. And thankfully, those are the kind of guys that we also looked at. So those that kind of like maybe KIV or maybe the banks were not so sure, but if we can see that they can afford the financing, that's where we came in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I see that P2P financing, a company like yours, plays a very vital role to fill in that gap, the financing for companies which may not have the traditional metrics that the banks would look at or will accept, right? So talk to us about the businesses that you're serving and what do you aim or the bigger objective here?
Yeah, so like the name suggests, MicroLEAP, we're trying to get them starting small and making a big leap and maybe getting a mix of bank financing as well as ours. So, and that's actually been the core of how we've been running. So the good thing is it's a funding escalator, so to speak. So pure startups, they can go to equity crowdfunding, also regulated by Securities Commission Malaysia. So those are the ones maybe they can look at pre-revenue and look at the expansion growth, or maybe they already secured some big contracts, but these guys are pure startups. So equity crowdfunding comes on that side. Peer-to-peer financing is from revenue generating right up to IPOs and publicly listed companies and sub-Cs as well. So that's where we come in on the P2P side. But the good thing is banks, of course, again, they'll always take the larger ones. So we have unfortunately, we also have the Alongs in East and West Malaysia, unfortunately. So I hope that is something where we can come in as well and not so much eradicate, but at least help to give other options. Thankfully now we're kind of growing our base. We have offices in Sabah and Sarawak as well. So that's actually helped, and nationwide actually with East Coast and West Coast. So that's where I hope the funding gap is what we're trying to close. It's a 90 billion funding gap. For MSMEs up to SC's report as of a couple of years ago.
90 billion?
Yeah, 90 billion ringgit. So that is something which we're hoping, not just us, but the entire ecosystem from the players from ECF and P2P are trying to resolve. Because at the end of the day, the ones who actually build a track record, the track record is actually noticed by the banks as well. So they will take it into account when they're looking at maybe they could probably be eligible for hybrid financing or maybe some bank specific grants or grant financing. So things like that, if they come from us to the banks, etc., that's also a natural progression. Yeah.
I'm really interested to hear more about how you manage risks, because you've kept defaults at just 0.36%. I believe it's one of the lowest default rate in Malaysia. What is behind it, and how much of it comes down to your credit scoring approach? And I do wonder, how is it different from data that banks tend to overlook?
I think the key factor there is the fact that our tenors don't go more than 3 years. Generally speaking, now even the investors that are on our platform, from the 10 ringgit guy right up to the million ringgit or millions of ringgits of investors and asset managers, they're looking for as tight as possible, the best P2Ps, the best default rates basically. So we're pretty tight from day one. So we have some pre-disbursement conditions that they have to meet. So that kind of filters out a lot of people already. But the good thing is, luckily, MicroLEAP is one of the few, or maybe with a rare P2P that actually has government agency support as well. So we can still take care of the micro and social enterprises and the lot. But we also, because that's a very, very low 3.5% per annum, so very, very low, or 0.5% per month for Traju, Bumiputra government agency, that serves, of course, East and West Malaysia, which I should say. So that's the kind of thing that we can, that helped us from the start. We are really tight on credit and pre-disbursement conditions, mitigation steps, like post-dated checks are important. So all these things actually help to bring down our default rate, because if they're already going to pay us every month through the direct debit e-mandate or standing instruction, that helps to mitigate the risk already. And so far that's been running well. And we also have notice of assignment as well. So things like that, ourselves and quite a number of the players are practicing the same, if it ain't broken, SOPs. So basically, everyone's mirroring each other as well. So it's overall the 0 or below 1% default rates. Most of us are having the same kind of credit modules and credit assessments.
Okay, so that's a default rate, which is kept very low. I want to talk about growth as well, because since 2019, MicroLEAP has more than doubled its funding every year, compound annual growth rate about 280%. That's very, very impressive. How are you pulling that off? Growing fast while keeping default rates low?
That's the biggest challenge. I think the main crux of the issue is, of course, whether the issuers are actually in touch with us. But we also have a default management process with several credit agencies as well as debt recovery guys. So not the ones that will throw paint on your house, the ones who are actually quite nice. And more importantly, I think they do it in a very professional manner, and they're working with several players and banks as well. So far that's actually been helping us a lot. And the good thing is, if you have the conversation early, then we can restructure. Because that's something we always have to point out. The restructuring cost is manageable, and it's better they come to us for the restructuring. And so far that's helped, because the government agencies also are the same. They won't call it default as long as you're paying something. So that's why also, I mean, why we always say, like, if there's MicroLEAP and there's also MicroLEAP Plus and the government agency websites, smecorp.microleapasia.com, traju.microleapasia.com, etc. So these are the guys that can help you on other things as well, you know, and they're cheaper. So, and definitely cheaper than the banks or even P2P. So those are the areas where we really look to help. And again, we're really happy that that's really helped fuel our growth also. And Islamic finance adoption. I think everybody likes the transparency factor. Everyone likes to see the fact sheet, and we personalize it like kiva.com, where we personalize it as much as we can. So people have an understanding of who they're investing in as well, and the nature of the business, and the facts and figures are all there.
If you look at the environment or the economic conditions, right? Some critics would say that ultra high growth, the risks tend to only show up when there is a downturn. So how confident are you about the MicroLEAP model, especially the MSMEs that you're serving?
I think the good thing is even SC and even our FMPM is looking for social enterprise financing, social financing. So that will take care of like the B40s and all that, because they're not expected to pay back with interest. It will be Card Hassan financing, so 0%. So that is something really interesting. Like, so that also, again, where we'll be launching it with Securities Commission, hopefully by start of next year. So between helping the NGOs to the kind of social
So this is a
enterprises,
completely different segment from what you're serving
completely
now.
different segment,
Okay.
but similar in a way because we know some of these guys who are in that bracket. Then also the government agencies as well as MicroLEAP will take care of the rest. So it's definitely something we don't want to. I mean, it's the easiest thing to do is okay, yeah, just like the banks. Okay, we're not going to look at the small guys, but it can be done. I mean, and it is promising to know that the government itself is giving support.
Okay, so that's the one spectrum of the businesses. But what about the businesses that you are handling right now?
Yeah, good thing is, I guess, is the tenor. Only for MicroLEAP, we keep our tenors shorter for our retail investors and our investors on our platform. So also, there'll be more initiatives that I think we'll touch on. But basically, that's also something that is sovereign-backed. Basically government-backed financing, state level or federal. So all these things is where we can still grow and keep our default manageable and or as close to zero as possible. I think zero is pretty hard, but it takes a long time to go from, say, 0.58 to 0.36. But it takes a very short time to go from 0.36 to 1. No, obviously, just like all the people we're working with on every level, as well as the regulator, keep it as close to zero as possible. That's the aim. But I think realistically, as long as we can get the conversation rolling and restructuring is happening, that helps. So, and sometimes most of them are pretty genuine. So, but again, the credit side, they're doing a really good job. So they're doing the main filtering. We're not as high as the banks rejection rate wise, but we're not that low either. But the good thing is the ones that maybe can't fit here, okay, maybe you can come apply on this side, maybe the agency side or the social financing side. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Now, one factor that has been driving growth for MicroLEAP is your government partnerships that's shaping up to be quite a large portion of your portfolio. Can you talk to us more about that?
Yeah, we've grown quite a bit. We started off with 10 million during the COVID times. So we did the COVID digital financing initiative for SMEs and anyone under SME Corp that has a valid cert. So after that, we had also MTDC, we've also been long-term partners with, as well as Traju recently, and we're looking to work with VPMB and some DFIs. So that's where we can really maximize some of these growth areas as well. They are a decent, sizable chunk, but fortunately for us, everything else has a natural knock-on effect. For some of these guys who took the government agency funds, then won some large contracts, and they were like, can we just do the normal MicroLEAP? Because A, they can afford it, and B, their business has grown. So, or we've also had some that grew it from term financing to invoice financing just on our platform alone. So that also is a good sign. I mean, we never said no, we never said they can't go to the banks. Although they're not allowed to do multiple P2Ps at the same time, that's under the regulations. So that we are very careful of. That also will be done under the credit assessment side. So far so good. I mean, touch wood. I hope it continues. Long may it continue. But the team we got quite a good agile team, and also like we mentioned earlier, which I'm sure we'll touch on, is the fact that our partners in Indonesia are running at a 0.25% default rate, lower than us.
Okay.
And that's we had the size of Jakarta as the size of Malaysia, right? So the fact that they are running at such a low default rate for the whole of Indonesia, that also speaks volumes. So ecosystem financing is the way to go.
All right, I'll get to Indonesia in a bit, but I do want to talk about the Sarana program, the invoice financing, which helps small contractors get financing through P2P platforms like MicroLEAP. Can you talk to us about how being part of that scheme has helped MicroLEAP's operations and underwriting?
Yeah, so that is going to be a bit of a process because fortunately, unfortunately, we are super fully online, super digital. Digital adoption is huge also in Malaysia, likely post-COVID, and the region, to be fair. But Sarana is a mix of wet signatures and a lot of back and forths. But we got a team specifically for Sarana, the underwriting, etc., as well as the follow-ups and the dispatch to go back and forth, because you can't trust these kind of important documents to be with just any delivery. It has to be your own person. So things like that. So it's going to be a bit tedious, but the growth is exponential because you're talking about even people in Sabah that have federal contracts, because e-perolehan or e-procurement is specifically for federal contracts. But it used to be with the factoring houses at a very, very high cost. Now with P2P, it's capped at 1.25% a month. So it's really cheap compared to what they were paying, which was, with Sharia, was paying anywhere between 3.5% and above. So, I mean, all in costs, you know. So ours is a lot more straightforward. P2P also, you pay only at the end, the principal at the end, at least that's how we do it, the balloon structure. So it's very easy on the balance sheet for SMEs or MSMEs. So the good thing about these guys, if say their contract is 100,000 or 10,000, or maybe a couple of million, if it's MOD, it could be, if it's G1 to G7, guys can get a 10 million contract. But we can fund any of these amounts because the backers or the investors will be there because it's sovereign backed. The only issue is maybe sometimes the payment may be delayed, but the payment will be there.
So that's what I was going to get at. So on paper, it does look like it's safer because loans are tied to government projects.
And the paymaster is the federal government.
The paymaster is the federal government, but things like delay, bureaucracy, and also perhaps over concentration in certain sectors. Is that a problem that
I think that could be. I can't deny that. I mean, that's also people that have been doing this exact Sarana program financing. Banks as well. Banks have obviously been doing e-Perolehan for many years. The feedback that we got from that is exactly what you rightly pointed out, is the fact that these guys are sometimes either, you know, maybe it's just certain companies are getting it over and over again, or the oversaturation, and so it is valid points, but we're trying to learn and see how to best navigate it. But so far, I think we're going to do the trial run within this year, this quarter 4. But I think the advantage is we know that the growth is just the sky's the limit, because you're having sovereign-backed financing that asset managers are looking at. Normal retail investors like you and me with our 10 ringgit or 10,000 ringgit can look at, because it's safe, you know. So I mean, it's as secure as it possibly can. But yes, we cannot deny that the bureaucracy and red tape will be there. We cannot deny that the payments may be late.
From your vantage point, what is the sweet spot in terms of portfolio allocation? Government, retail, Sharia, conventional, what do you see as a...
So we're kind of Jay-Z, 99% Sharia. Yeah, so unfortunately or fortunately, that's something...
Wait, 99%?
Yeah, 99% of our entire funding dispersed. So we've done over 420 million at the moment, touching 430 plus. So basically, we're at this point in time, we're 99% Sharia. So I think Sharia is going to be our makeup no matter what, because the retail investors who are non-Muslim are also looking at Sharia assets, because they just like the transparency. They're kind of used to it now. So it's good that, and again, we absorb all the costs, so there's no difference between, as an SME, there's no difference in cost. As an investor, there's no difference in cost, whether you're investing in Sharia or conventional. So that is, I think, can't run away from the Sharia heavy bit. Even now, Indonesia is 100% Sharia, so that's also nice. I mean, these guys are basically, they're very in line with us, but our partners there. But the good thing is, I guess, if we can get the government Sarana program to be maybe 20 to 30%, that'll be great. Because then we know our growth will not be 420 million, we'll probably be touching double that. Because those ticket sizes are huge. You know, you're right, there has the small ticket sizes. Cleaning contracts could be 10,000 ringgit, 5,000 ringgit, 30,000 ringgit. But you also have some huge contracts which are like 1 million, 10 million. But if the government is confirmed going to pay, then it's a bit safer for the person that's funding it.
Okay. Yeah. Now, just quickly, just to get a sense of what's happening, just recently OPR was cut to 2.75%. How are MSMEs responding? Do you see there's less demand now for like P2P platforms? What trends are you noticing?
I think so far, because these cuts have happened before. So the good thing is now, yes, there's also digital banks, can't deny that. So they have actually better rates. In fact, they're coming in hard. But I don't see the pie is big enough. I mean, they can survive, we can survive, and the banks are on autopilot, so they'll be fine. But you know, so the digital side, these guys as well as P2P, ECF, I mean, the market's big enough. So I think we've gone through this up and downs and these cuts before, but the demand is quite stable over the years. It's not really dipped when the cuts have happened. It's not really dipped, or vice versa. So I think we should be able to handle it. And again, I mean, if the growth, I would say the growth aspect would be the Sarana programs and the lot, because these are the ones where, again, the pie is big enough. I mean, the banks also are also doing it, factoring it, pre and post sales, and we are doing the same.
Okay, I know you said the pie is big enough, but do you see digital banks, for instance, as a competitor,
I think we have to
increasingly a competitor?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's also, if you can't beat them, join them. So we have to work with them. But luckily, they are quite on a similar mindset. So, and they're they try to digitize as much as possible. We got certain, partner banks that are AI driven. So also makes our job easier. We're trying to do that as well. So obviously that's the way forward. So maybe CSR with the banks and DFIs that we already have in the pipeline, and some we've already done. So we'll never say no to working with them. So we keep reminding them the same thing, because there's no way we can compete. We're not doing balance sheet funding. But at the same time, the good thing is there's a lot of avenues where we can take the headaches off them, because they don't need to worry about micro, we'll do it. Or so many other ways, like ecosystems that we already have. Then maybe they can look, or Sarana, they can look at asset managers, and wealth managers can look at funding it, because they know they're going to get their returns. So, yeah.
All right. So you have built a very strong base here in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Next, of course, Indonesia, you mentioned briefly.
Yeah.
Talk to us about what's exciting about the Indonesian market, besides the size, of course.
Yeah,
Default rates are even lower.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Explain to us how
the good thing is we're looking regionally. So we're just closing our Series A. So once Indonesia again is quite a unique market. They've only just opened up to investors coming in, or foreign partnerships and mergers, etc. So we have to work and partner with the guys who are already existing, but more importantly, their mindset, their age profile, our C-suite and their C-suite. Like, I'm founding partner in MicroLEAP, and these guys on the other side, with same age, same mindset. That's a big pull.
Do you see a chance to replicate the Malaysian model in Indonesia, or is it completely different?
No, you're spot on. There's a lot of things we can learn from them, but there's a lot we can fine tune for them as well. So it's not going to be a straight cash. I'm acquiring and then we're walking away. It's a long-term thing. So we're looking at it as almost like a JV. So they've got a lot of things that we can learn from, for sure. And there's a lot of things that we can.
What do you think that we can contribute? Like MicroLEAP can contribute to the Indonesian
the tech side. So our certain things, they have some tech advantages over us, but we have a lot of things which are proprietary to us that now we can make proprietary available for them. So that's where I think that tech transfer, knowledge transfer on two sides. The markets, very different, but certain things are similar. But the lenders, that's something, we want to bring foreign direct investments into the country, and vice versa. I'm sure they will also want to know our lenders, or who are which we do have some who are based in Indonesia. So now they can actually do their ecosystem financing and or investments in our partner P2P.
So potentially in the future, cross-border P2P financing, is that the end game?
Or at least cross-border investments, right? Because it's a matching platform between investors and issuers. So if we can get these super lenders on the Indonesian side, they are happy with these sovereign banks, very risk adverse. Oh, I like your Sarana thing. It's not earning that much compared to what I'll earn in Indonesia, but I love it. It's safe. So yeah, those are the kind of guys that, and which country wouldn't want foreign investments coming in? So vice versa, though. I think it also goes both ways. We also can introduce super lenders, as they call them, to their side as well. So it's quite a good synergy. Luckily, they're also running for many years, so it's not like a brand new company either, and profitable, so that's also good. So that's something which, again, we synergize quite well.
All right, so just final question. P2P 10 years ago has been seen as more of an alternative investment platform financing model, increasingly becoming more mainstream, but what do you hope to see in this space in the future?
Actually, I'm hoping to see more synergies with the different partners, like the banks and digital banks and the DFIs. We're living proof that it works. So that would be great. Regulator to regulator also, please be friendly. We talk to each other. Your sister regulators after all. But the good thing is, I think overall there is a nice, there is light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. It looks like that's where we're heading, at least at the moment. So I hope that long may continue, but that's something which I'm really hoping for, more of the synergies between all of us, and agencies as well, because I think the agencies, they don't need to reinvent the wheel, right? If they have to worry about payment collection, KYC, then that's a huge burden for them. But if they can just go like, yeah, here you go, put my funds in your trust account, and blah blah blah, right? Because in any case, with the safety of investments with MicroLEAP and SC is that everything goes through the trustees. So anything were to happen, also the trustees are the custodians.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Matt, for just giving us a sense of the where the sector is heading. And great to have you on the show, and best of luck with your plans.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.